New markets is that, that famous, I think, apocryphal Steve Jobs quote where, if Henry Ford like asked people what they would have wanted, it would have been a horse with 6 legs. Well, yeah, that was a new market. By the way, the test of a new market is you ask people, would you like this half price? And if they go, what's this? Then it's a kind of a hint. In a new market, you want to get out of the building to understand the day in the life of a customer. You want to understand their problems, their need, how they do their work, etc. You truly want to understand their problems. And you want to go to a whiteboard and be able to describe either the workflow or the problems or whatever. And then right underneath it, I want you to kind of describe how the world is going to change when your product is going to come out. And what is it that's that insight that will tell you that people will stop what they're doing in X and start doing your thing Y. And that show me the evidence you have that either you're building MVPs, if you talk to people, and by the way, even telling me they don't get it yet is still okay if you could explain to me why they don't get it yet. Because all these other ancillary things need to happen. 5G needs to be embedded in everything, or gee, we need 6G or whatever. But when that happens, we believe X and Y, and here's why it's going to be transformative. Okay, well, tell me why you know that. Well, I've just spent, 4 weeks living with these people, or I spoke to 75 people or sat in these 75 situations. And basically the whole idea of lean, particularly in a new market, is you're trying to create evidence. We're creating evidence-based entrepreneurship. We're just not throwing stuff at the wall in a set of uncertainty. We're trying to build a bounding box of how do we eliminate as much uncertainty as we can. And in a new market, there's a ton of uncertainty, right? But the rewards are enormous if we're right. How do we do that? Well, first of all, here's the evidence I have. Here are the risks I've identified. Here are the other things that need to happen. When the web came out, there was a whole set, and mobile came out, there was a whole set of underlying technologies that these new applications were betting on. And sometimes those shifts didn't happen fast enough or didn't happen the way they had. Well, if you would have articulated what they were, then you could have understood the risks. And by the way, sales and marketing is still radically different. If you're in an existing market, you're spending marketing dollars for demand creation, whether it's web or mobile or healthcare, it doesn't matter, to create share. You could go ask people, do you want this product? It looks like this one, but it's better. It fits in your pocket. It's something else. If I'm an investor or sitting on your board and you tell me you're in an existing market with something better, your sales curve better look like this, right? Why? Because you're taking share from the incumbent or the market's growing and whatever. Or if you're an existing market, but you're going after a niche, well, your sales curve is going to have a little hump because you'll get all the early adopters of that niche. But if you're right, it'll take a while, but then again, it'll grow, but it'll have a hump. But if you're in a new market, that's the historic hockey stick. That's not the same sales curve as an existing market. The first step is when I teach students and you ask them for an Excel spreadsheet, every one of their spreadsheets have a 5-year plan that looks like this. And if you're in a new market, that's just impossible because in a new market, it's a guerrilla set of activities for the first couple of years. There's some early adopters you have to incent. There are partners you have to incent, etc. It's a completely different go-to-market strategy. And healthcare is different from fintech, which is different from enterprise software, which is different for whatever. The people who kind of knew this for decades are the people delivering therapeutics, that is drugs, where that time between when you start and the time where you might have some licensing revenue, let alone a phase 3 FDA approval, could be a decade or two. In software and consumer hardware, people have forgotten that difference between an existing and new market.